In this video, we're looking at your different personality types, and you have already gone to the PDF and you've already filled out and you've done this checklist and you have some numbers. So now you have numbers that say everything, and you have a number for green, you have a number for orange, you have a number for blue, and you have a number for yellow. So what I want to do is I want to talk about those 4 different personality types, and then I want you to look at it and I want you to see what your top personality type is, and I want to see how close they are. I want to see if, if it comes out whatever, green, orange, yellow, blue, whatever, then I want to see how far apart they are. And then I want to see your highest and I want to see your lowest. Now, the information that we're going to use here, you will include in your autobiography that's due at the very end of this course, and you're going to talk about what your personality type is and how that describes you, and then you're going to talk about what your personality type is not, and what you really need to work on. So this is really cool. This allows you to understand yourself, allows you to understand others a little bit. So you're kind of wondering, okay, so they gave me these random questions, and now I have a number, okay? So look at your highest number, okay? Look at your highest number. Let's talk about what the 4 personality types are. Green is analytical. Green is a thinker. We need thinkers out there. We need green people. Green people a lot of times are administrators that are leaders that put groups together. If you're an orange, okay, then you're a real team player. You're like, what can I do? What can I do as my part? What's the group? What can I do? You're a team player. We'll go over them just kind of quick and then we'll talk about them in detail. If you're blue, then you're a nurturing person. You're all about other people. What can I do to help other people? And if you're a yellow person, then you're creative. And you might be very musical, but you also might be very creative in ideas. You might be somebody who gets the answer that nobody else sees. While everybody else is busy, you're stopping to take time to smell the roses. You might see something that nobody else sees. So in a nutshell, that's what they are. So that's good. Years ago, I had a basketball team, and I gave them this test. And it was really good because I said, okay, if this team doesn't have somebody that's green, or some people that are green, or somebody that's orange, or somebody that's blue, or somebody that's yellow, then we've got a need for this team. So we look at it in terms of a basketball team. Okay, the green is analytical. Okay, so that's the deal. All of a sudden, something's happening out there in the game, and I say to I say, okay, you people that are green and analytical people, what are you seeing that we can do? And they're kind of like, oh, well, they're doing this, and they're doing this, and they're doing this. Could we do that? And I'm like, okay, well, see, that's the analytical, that's the thinking, that's the logical part of it. Man, I better have some orange people, because they're kind of like whenever we have a timeout, the orange people are like, come on guys, let's go, and they're rallying the whole team. Well, we got to have the orange people out there. If we don't have a team, we don't get stuff done. And then the blue is the nurturing. This is the caring about other people. So I've got these blue people out there on a team that's like somebody's just they're just getting beat up out there. They're just feeling terrible. Somebody that's blue says, man, it's okay. It'll be all right. You're going to be okay. And they just encourage them. And then we've got the yellow. We've got the creative people out there. These are the people that are going through the game, and they're noticing things that nobody else notices. So I'm like, okay, in a game, I'm like, okay, well, what's the factor? Why are we down today? And they're like, oh, well, coach, the reason we're down today is everybody's really discouraged. We need to have a movie night. We got to get this thing going. So yellow is sometimes associated with somebody who thinks out of the box in terms of creative. So now let's talk about if this fits you. Okay. So if you're green, okay, we'll talk about green for a little bit. You're analytical. You think about things in terms of if this happens and this happens. If you're a green person and you have a problem with something, or something's really heavy on your mind, you're okay if you have a solution. You're like that's good, but man, what am I going to do about it? What am I going to do about it? And once you have an analytical situation, like, okay, well, I'm going to do this, okay? You've got a test coming up and you're all nervous, like, okay, no problem. I'm going to spend an hour studying every day. And I'm going to learn this and this and this every day. Then you're okay. That problem solved. You're not worried about that test anymore. If you're a green person and you're analytical, then you see everything sequential. If you're a green person and somebody says, hey, what time are we going to go to whatever event? And they say we're leaving at 5 o'clock. You're there in a minute till 5, and you're wanting to know where everybody's at. And at 5 o'clock, you're like, you said we were leaving at 5. Because an analytical person is sequential. An analytical person sees everything exactly for what it is. So that's analytical. Okay? Now, if you're orange and you're a team player, okay? If you're orange and you're a team player, then you're kind of like, I need a job. I need to know what I need to do, and if I can do what I need to do, then I'm happy. In other words, whatever it is, you know, if you're in a group and you're an orange, if you're an orange personality, you're like, okay, well, what do you want me to do? And then somebody says, maybe the green over here says, hey, you know what? Don't worry about it. I got it all taken care of. Well, the orange is like, well, that's no good, because I want to contribute. And as long as an orange person is contributing and doing something that's valuable for the team, the orange person's happy. Now, what makes the orange person happy? They're only as good as their team is. So it's really important to orange to go out and pick your friends. You know, what does green do? If green doesn't like the friends that are there, then green just says, fine, you know what? I don't really need those friends, because I know what I need to do. Now, if there's a lot of analytical friends, green will get with those analytical friends and they'll discuss things analytically. Oh, so what do you think? Oh, well, yeah, but what if you did this? Oh, but what if? Okay? Well, when orange gets in that discussion with the green, orange is like, can't we all just get along? Can't we all just agree? Can't we all just, do you have to be the boss? Okay? So an orange person is a team player. What can I do in the realm of the whole thing? And once orange has a role, orange is as happy as they can be, and orange is like, and orange does a role. Once you give orange a role, once they know what their job is, they're on it, whatever the role is. Blue is nurturing. Blue is where you really have a compassion for other people. Now, what happens with blue is the kind of person, maybe this is you, okay? So blue is like come in there and they're like, oh man, how's it going today? And they're like, oh, I'm not feeling too good. And you're like, golly, that's no good, you know? What can we do to help you feel better? And blue is noticing all these things, and blue's like, oh wow, hey, today is old Joe's birthday. Hey, Joe, happy birthday. Do you know where blue runs into trouble? Blue runs into trouble when they're not around other blue people. Because blue's always like, hey, man, so good to see you. And then blue walks in the room and nobody notices they're there. Blue's not feeling good and nobody says, hey, how are you feeling? Nobody seems to care. And blue's like, wow, they don't care at all. And green doesn't even know that anybody's around him, let alone that somebody's hurting. So when blue's around a green, they're trying to tell the green, oh man, you feeling okay? And the green is thinking analytical. They're thinking, well, do I need to go to a specialist? Do I need to go to the doctor? What do I need to do? I need a plan. Do I not look good? And blue is actually just trying to help green feel better. So blue is nurturing, okay? Now, yellow is creative. Now, when I say creative, I mean creative as in things we wouldn't notice. But the thing about yellow is coming from the non-analytical part of the brain totally. So if you run into somebody that's a yellow personality, and you may be a yellow personality yourself, and you say, hey, we're going to come over to your house at 5 o'clock and eat supper. So yellow's like, well, 5 o'clock means, whenever I get there. So yellow's going to go visit green, and green says, okay, we're going to cook out. Come over here at 5 o'clock. So green's like been barbecuing since 4:45. Well, let's go 4:30. We have to get barbecue. They've been cooking for 30 minutes, and they put everything on the table at 5 o'clock, and they're ready for the yellow personality to show up. And the yellow doesn't show up at 5. The yellow doesn't show up at 5:15. The yellow doesn't show up until 5:30. The yellow walks in the door. Hey, how's it going, man? Good to be here. And they're all laid back. And green's like, you said you were going to be here at 5, and now it's 5:20 or 5:30. And yellow's like, Yeah, no problem. And what yellow is thinking is, yellow's thinking that it's more important to enjoy life along the way than it is to worry about the time. So are any of these personalities more or less than the other? No. As a matter of fact, we have to have all four personalities, not just on a team, but in life. Every group of people needs to be associated with all of these. If we had no greens, we would have no leadership, we would have no analytical thinking. If we had no orange, we would have no unity. If we had no blue, we would have no caring. And if we had no yellow, we would be so structured that we would miss the everyday things that happen. So now let's go one step further, okay? Now, I want you to, as you look at this, I want you to look at what you're the least. I want you to look at the number that's the smallest. So on that's the one that you have the hardest time relating to. So when you have that, you'll have to go and do that. These are the kind of people that drive me crazy. If you're a green, okay, and you're analytical, yellow just drives you crazy, all right? If you're orange, okay, then anybody that's not a team player just drives you crazy. If you're blue and you're caring, anybody that's not caring drives you crazy. If you're yellow and you're creative, then anybody who's so structured that doesn't have time to stop and be creative drives you crazy. So now, let's think about this. What if you were an employee at whatever job you are, and this was your boss? So now, let's look at the other thing we need to understand is how people approach us. So, I want to go in and I've got this great idea. I work for some company, okay, and I've got this great idea, and my boss is green, okay? So, I go into my boss, so I say, well, how would I approach my boss with a great idea? I would be like, wow, I have this great idea. If we did this, and this, and this, then the result would be this, and this, and this, and our company would be better. And green would be like, wow, that's a great idea. That's a great idea. If our boss was orange, we would say, man, I've got this great idea. If we'll do this and this and this, we'll work more as a team, and we'll get a lot more done, and our company will be better. Oh, same idea, but different approach. If we're blue, okay, we say, oh, I've got this great idea. If we do this and this and this, people will know that we care more, and that it's more about people, and our company will do better. Or if we're yellow, if our boss is yellow, we come in and we'd say, man, I just had this creative thought, and what if? I know it's kind of out of the box, I know it's kind of off the wall, but what if? And yellow's like, oh, I want to hear this. I want to hear this. What is this? What if? So, as you can see, whatever color you are is great, is critical, it's needed. But the color that you're not, you need to understand that's the kind of person that you don't really relate to. Now, the other thing is that you need to realize the color you're not is probably more of what you need. Now, if all of your four numbers are really close, then you have a little bit of a combination of all of these. But is there a time where we don't need one of those? And the answer is no. So in this process, you need to think, who am I and what am I good at? But also, what am I not and what do I need to be better at? Now, if you're having a conflict with somebody, okay, in life, whether it's a boss or a spouse or a friend or whatever it is, try to determine what they are and try to see it through their eyes. Try to see it as a green would see it, an orange, a blue, and a yellow. And it will begin to help you understand those people. So, even though this doesn't solve all the world's problems, it sure helps you understand personalities, and it sure helps you understand you. And whatever personality you are, whichever one of these you are, take it and run with it. It's a God-given thing that's given you the opportunity, and when you're truly in your personality, you feel joy, you feel productive, you feel good. So if you feel like things are just kind of not in balance in your life, you might even look about which personality you're not. So I hope you're able to use this, and good luck all you greens, orange, yellows, and blues.